Sorry about that. Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to cover the most important, the most fruitful, the most informational, and basically the main pillar of Forex. Yes, you heard it right. The main pillar of Forex, and that is how do you get started. I noticed that I've been posting a lot of content about strategies, how to trade the markets, but what about for the person who actually has no clue what the Forex market even is? What steps would they take? So this video specifically was made for you, and I hope you stay to the end of this video because I'm going to go over 3 tips or 3 steps that every single beginner trader must take before he gets into the markets. So number 1, you gotta understand that this is a long-term game. This is not no short-term game. All right, that doesn't mean you're gonna enter the markets with about $100, right? And you're gonna turn that 100 into 2K. Actually, screw 2K, 2 million, right? In 1 week. That's not gonna happen. Matter of fact, funny story. One time I actually had about $500 in my trading account. I turned that into 700 just from over leveraging. I didn't even do an analysis. I got my parents involved. Turned their account from 2K to 4K. Next day it went all the way back down to 0. So the lesson there is this is not a short game, this is a long-term game. So trade with a plan, and that brings me to step number 2. Actually, we'll leave the plan for the last part. So step number 1, this is not a short-term game, this is a long-term game. A couple of things that you could do to understand and make yourself realize that this is matter of fact a long-term game and not a short-term game is to keep your expectations low and have reality in check. So keep your reality in check. Keep constantly reminding yourself that I'm not here to make money in a week. I'm not here to make money in a month. I'm here to make money consistently in the time span of a couple of years. And that is step number 1. So remember that this is not a short-term game. This is a long-term game. This is the journey, or this is the place that we want to get to. You know, this is the finish line, F-I-N-I-S-H, and you are over here. All right. So you're right here, you're smiling, you have some curly hair like me, and boom, you're walking. But boom, what happens? You run into a wall. Now, what is this wall? This wall is your first trial/tribulation. The first time you fall down into the mud and things get a little bit messy and they get a little bit hard. Now we get into step number 2. Step number 2 is do not overcomplicate it. There's going to be times where you feel like it's not working. There's also going to be times where things are working, but it's not going to be a quick, straight, dynamic line. Remember, it's not going to be a static line where everything's going to go up like this. No, it's not going to happen. Remember, you're going to be tested. Things are going to get hard sometimes. But through those hard times, if you stay true to yourself and you try to find the solution to the equation that you're having some trouble solving, then at the end of it, you will come through it. And not only will you get through it, but it'll become easier. You're going to learn, and that's going to help you become a better trader in the long run. So remember, there's going to be times where things don't make sense, and there's a couple of things you could do. You could do number 1, use the resources to your benefit. Remember, there's not a single thing that I teach in my mentorship or that anyone else teaches in their mentorship that's not already online for free. Yes, I'm saying it out loud right now. Everything is online for free. The only difference is what I teach in my mentorship is a bit more in-depth, and it's a lot more I take your hand with you and I teach it to you. I basically feed you until you're big enough to walk. You know, you hold your kid's hand and he crawls, and then he gets big enough and he walks by himself. That's essentially what it is. So use YouTube. Use your resources. Because if you don't use your resources, you're essentially trusting yourself, but you're a beginner, so you have to trust someone. So number 1, use your resources. Number 2, if you need help and that help requires money, then go get yourself a mentor. Remember, getting a mentor will really quickly decrease the time length of you and profitability. Look, this is the finish line and you're walking. But if you could get in a car, I know it's a terrible example, but if you get in a car, then it's just you're gonna get there 10 times quicker. So a mentor is like a car, and he drives you there, not literally, but he's gonna help you get over these little I guess you call them, tests, these little rocks around the road. And once he helps you get over them, what's going to happen is you get closer to the finish line, because the end goal is once again the finish line. So that was number 2, get a mentor. And number 3 is back test. I know this sounds very, 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 very iconic, and everyone talks about back testing, but I can't stress it enough. Use backtesting to your advantage. If something doesn't make sense or you just came across a new strategy and you think it works, backtest it. Matter of fact, let's do a quick backtesting session together. So boom, we're on the daily time frame. Let's say I go back one day. All right, I go to the 1 hour time frame. I close my eyes. I see a bullish candle. It's a spinning top. Take profit next high. What's gonna happen? Boom. Wait. Boom. Take profit hit, and there you go. Your strategy worked. Obviously, I'm just joking. That's not how you backtest. We're gonna have more videos on backtesting, but backtest your strategy, because if you don't backtest your strategy, there's essentially no evidence that it's gonna work. Unless, of course, you used it on a live market whilst you're demo trading, then you do have some type of evidence. But we remember, a quick tip I have for all of you traders is when you backtest about 100 trades. Use your strategy for 100 trades and give and calculate the probability of how many times you came out profitable and how many trades you lost. Remember, you could lose more than you win and still come out profitable. It's all about risk management. But once again, backtest your strategy. It'll give you a good understanding of how realistic and how probable your strategy is to leading you towards profitability. Sorry. And then number 3 was backtesting. So this is just 3 little tips inside step number 2. Now step number 3, which is probably the most obvious one, is you're gonna have to educate yourself before you get involved in this industry. Remember, look, a businessman does not open a business without doing his due diligence. Remember, if I'm a businessman, which I am at the end of the day, which we all are, essentially we're all businessmen to a certain extent, but businessmen and women. But if I'm a business person, theoretically, and I want to open up a spa, yeah, you heard me right, a spa. I'm not just gonna go buy the first spa I see. I'm gonna understand the supply and demand in that industry. I'm gonna understand the pricing. I'm gonna understand the statistics. You know, how scalable it is, and etc. So you have to do the same thing. So step number 1 is understand what is Forex. What is it? What is this specific industry? What is Forex? What market is it in? So step number 1, educate yourself. Education. And by education, I mean the basics. Education. You need to know the very, very basics. Step number 2, once you understand the basics, that's when you can get first-hand experience. The best tip I have for some of you is get first-hand experience before anything. Before you go and watch a technical analysis video, go on MetaTrader 4 and start messing around with the options. Quick funny story. Matter of fact, before I do that, let me write it down. A quick story is back when I was a retail trader, back when I was new to retail trading, I would actually go on MT4 and I would just randomly press buy, sell on my demo account, of course. And I acted/pretended like I knew what I was doing. So whenever me and my friend at the time, well, he's still my best friend, but me and my friend, we were trading together. We were starting our journey together. And he'd ask me, like, yo, how'd you already open trades? Like, do you know what you're doing? And I just lied to him. Like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, bro. What, MT4? Like, what is this? Yeah, bullish candle. Yeah, that means sell. Bearish candle, that means buy. I basically lied to myself and pretended like I knew what I was doing. Now, although that seems really, really ridiculous in the moment, but what you didn't know is that whilst I was pretending to know what I was doing, I was actually learning from my mistakes. So for example, I opened up a sell position once and I had no idea what these candles were. So once I saw that the market, I meant to do this. Once I saw that the market was going down and that increased my profit, then I knew, oh, so this means that when I sell and the market goes down, my profit goes, I make money. And if I buy and the market goes up, that means I make money. So at the same time, you're learning whilst you're basically deceiving yourself. So number 2, learn and then get a first-hand experience. So first-hand experience. I hope I spelled that right. If not, don't get at me for that. And then number 3, after you learned, you got first-hand experience, this is when you dive into one specific topic. Remember, the basics were the basics. What is Forex? What's the difference between Forex and crypto? This, that. Now choose one topic and learn it well. One topic, for example, inside Forex, there's multiple topics. There's the topic of technical analysis. There's the topic of fundamental analysis. There's the topic of pips. There's a topic of spread. There's a topic of risk management. There's a topic of supply demand. There's a topic of support resistance. You have to choose one. Choose one, preferably the very basic of one, and then study that, and then move on to the next one. Or matter of fact, so yeah, we're gonna do step by step step-by-step learning process, right? You can call that step-by-step learning process. Forgive my handwriting, it's terrible, I know. But yes, there you go. So these are the 3 tips that I have for every single beginner Forex trader. Remember, this is a long-term game. Number 2, remember, this is a long-term game. We're not here to make money quickly. We're here to make money in the long run, because $10,000 today is not going to last you in 1 year. $10,000 every single month will last you the year. And that's going to keep your wife happy, your second wife happy, your third wife happy, and your fourth wife happy. Now, step number 2, I'm just trolling. Number 2, well, who knows? A lot of people have 4 wives nowadays, mashallah. But number 2, get yourself involved in what was step number 2? I'm testing your knowledge right now. What was it? Step number 2 was this. Educate yourself. Learn the basics. Educate yourself. Remember, educate yourself. Everything starts with education. If you don't have education and you don't know what you're doing, you're essentially you're running in a circle and there's no plan. And step number 3, I'm going to add another one, is have a plan. Have a plan. Basically, take 1 step a day. Some of you might be wondering, well, I struggle with motivation. I don't have motivation. I have a lack of dopamine. My dopamine receptors are low. I have a best advice for you. Number 1, take it 1 step a day. Whilst you're eyeing the end goal, you're still over here. So instead of thinking, how the hell, astaghfirullah, sorry, not hell, how the heaven am I going to get to finish line? Just think about what you have to do today. That's it. And a good tip that I have for all of you is create a daily plan or a weekly plan of giving yourself tasks. Give yourself given tasks every single week and complete them. And once you complete those tasks, move on to the next part. Move on to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. And little do you know it, you're eventually going to be halfway there. There you go, you're halfway there. So as we said, use your resources on YouTube, get a mentor if you need, and backtest. And then we said, educate yourself, get first-hand experience, and then step-by-step learning. Remember, we're not here to statically learn, we're here to dynamically learn. The difference between static learning and dynamic learning is this. With dynamic learning, with static learning, it's like you're learning one thing, but it's like inconsistent. You learn it once a day or maybe once a week. And then what happens is your brain, it gets overloaded with so much knowledge, but it's inconsistent, so you forget it the next week. Now, dynamic learning is when you have a learning plan, when you have a schedule, and you're learning consistently. So what happens is everything that goes into this beautiful person's head who's bald, what's going to happen is it's going to stick there. The knowledge is going to stick there. So then when you go to the markets, you're going to remember, yes, I remember I watched a YouTube video covered by Track Effects, authored by Track Effects, who talked about this, and now I know what I'm doing. Rather than you learn something today, and then the next week you forget it. It's useless. So these are the tips I have for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Expect more beginner videos coming in the future, because we do have a lot of beginners that are looking to get involved in this industry. And if you have any more questions, make sure you follow me on Instagram. And if you're interested in joining my mentorship, my Discord community, my trading community, where I send my signals, where I also released a full course covering the basics all the way to the advanced, then make sure you click the link in the description, enroll yourself in the course, and get one-on-one help by me. With that being said, have a beautiful rest of your day, guys, or women, men and women. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you all next week. Peace. Or I'll see you all next video. Peace.